Good afternoon. I'm Troy Merkle, and I want to thank you for your time today. As you all know, Volkswagen has recently been in the eye of the international media for what has been coined Dieselgate. Today, I'm here to talk with you about the failures of this organization that led to the scandal, what we need to do to take the organization beyond this, and how we can ensure this never happens again. At this point, you should all be well aware that we have had multiple individuals within this organization assist in the development of a software that produced false numbers when testing emissions. The complexity of the scam seems to prove that there was a collaboration of many individuals throughout the organization. The initial reaction of our senior leaders appeared to further damage our reputation, as some attempted to cover up the scandal rather than correct it. We can no longer continue to deflect and place blame. It's time to create change and lead this company into a positive future. Each year, Fortune magazine develops a list of the most admired companies in the United States and globally. They measure each company using these 8 dimensions. Because we are an international organization, we are also judged using a 9th dimension. I have chosen to use this as the methodology to identify the sources of our failures. It does not take long to see that we have utterly failed in multiple ways here. While the faults are many, I believe we have seen our greatest failures in people management. We have harmed every one of our stakeholders, and even some individuals that do not have any investment with the company at all. The path ahead will not be easy, but in the end, we can position Volkswagen to be one of the preeminent auto manufacturers yet again. Our failure to manage our people starts with the toxic culture we have built. We have failed to create a work environment that is based on integrity, open communication, and trust. It is well known that our organization favors structure and blind adherence to the established rules. The benefits of such a company are very few and heavily negated by the numerous flaws. The decisions we made have developed a culture of corner cutting and manipulations to get ahead in an attempt to develop one job security for oneself. For Volkswagen to improve, we must adopt an organizational model focused on the pillars of conscious capitalism, establishing a higher purpose, orienting our actions to benefit all stakeholders, conscious leadership, and establishing a conscious culture. By instituting these pillars as the foundation of this organization, we will be able to develop a better work environment for our employees, which will result in better product for our consumers, leading to an increase in revenue for our shareholders. It is not the individuals that created this cheat software that caused this problem, nor those that willingly ignored the acts of deceit. It is the heads of the organization that instituted programs that incentivize productivity at the cost of the individual and dealt harshly with what we deemed as failure. If we do not create change in our organization immediately, we will continue to see a decrease in employee satisfaction and turnover, in large part due to a lack of job security. This will deepen this distrust they have for their leadership, and employees will continue to cut corners to display proficiency where deficiencies actually exist. The quality of our products will continue to diminish, further harming our consumers and ultimately our shareholders. It will only be a matter of time until we face yet another scandal. If we do not right the ship immediately, Volkswagen will not survive. Multiple sources have pointed to the failure of our organizational structure and culture. We have created incentives that perpetuate autocratic rule in our leaders. We have been utilizing a pay-per-performance system that forces most of our senior leaders to rely on bonuses for a large portion of their income, and have based these bonuses on perceived levels of productivity that we have arbitrarily created. Our leaders demand performance at all costs because we have demanded it of them. This system has produced a toxic environment which has exacerbated our lackluster response to the scandal, in which we immediately blame our subordinates. Additionally, our inability to keep up with the increasing demands of the EPA is also the result of the toxic environment. Rather than allowing our teams to go back to the drawing board, we simply enforced our own timelines. This, along with our culture of demanding absolute compliance to our established rules, has stifled creativity and silenced our greatest asset, the people on the front lines of this company. We have set them up for failure, and we've punished them for failing. We have not implemented any of the elements of conscious capitalism. None of our current models, programs, or our business structure benefits our employees. As previously discussed, our consumers and shareholders also suffer because of our lack of empathy and conscious leadership. We have knowingly caused damage to our environment and to our consumers. to the point that some researchers believe that our pollutants from our vehicles produced could be the cause of up to 60 deaths in the United States alone. We must start by unifying higher purpose that places importance on something other than our corporate headquarters in Wolfsburg and our bottom line. Consumers are becoming more environmentally and socially conscious. Successful businesses can no longer simply exist to make money. If we can effectively unify our entire organization behind a single purpose that benefits our global community, we are more likely to attract customers that will not only purchase our vehicles, but are a reason for producing those vehicles. Individuals that buy into our cause are more likely to be repeat customers and consumers for life. For this organization to succeed, we need to formulate how we will create change. One of the most reliable methods to leading change is John Cotter's 8 steps. First, we need to create a sense of urgency within our organization. It is apparent across the globe that we have failed from the top down. We must acknowledge that failure and accept responsibility and utilize this as an opportunity to improve. We cannot do that within this headquarters alone. It needs to transcend all ranks of the organization. If we do not, thousands of employees will be without work. We must begin a campaign that highlights this need by portraying how and where we failed, starting with the shortcomings of our senior managers. We will then portray exactly how we will go about creating change at Volkswagen. Next, we need to establish a guiding coalition. This panel will consist of individuals within our organization that our stakeholders can get behind. We need to find some of the most knowledgeable and influential leaders within the organization that believe in this change. They will help us develop the programs necessary to initiate the paradigm shift, monitor the progress, and help us identify areas of improvement as we progress. After we have established this panel, we need to utilize them and the management in this office to form a strategic mission with incentives. This is perhaps the most important step. Because we already have a global footprint, we can initiate change across the entire world. Rather than being the car manufacturer that selfishly cuts corners to get ahead, we can be the grassroots of change in the industry. Our next focus will be on growing our support as we enlist the help of our stakeholders. We cannot simply rely on the coalition to drive change. It has to come from within. Revolutions may have started by a few individuals, but they are carried on the backs of every person in the entire organization. We need to enlist every member of this organization to drive this change. We must unify them behind our vision for this organization, this industry, and our higher cause. Moving forward, it is imperative that our organization no longer enforces strict adherence to our beliefs. Our shareholders ought to be brought to believe in our cause through our call to action and sentiment. Enforcing standards will only further perpetuate our currently toxic environment. From there, we need to reorganize the company. We'll begin by opening our doors. Every leader in the organization, starting at the top, needs to lend an ear to our employees that wish to speak. We must sustain such an open dialogue and reward such communication. Subordinates need to be able to give honest feedback to their superiors without fear of repercussion if we want to be successful in the future. Payment based on performance seems beneficial for all involved. However, without close regulation and monitoring, it can create incentive to cheat. It would be far more beneficial to create a scenario based on the expectancy theory of motivation. This will require our leaders to be more engaged. Our managers will have to become coaches and mentors. They will have to get to know who their subordinates are on a personal level and strive to help them reach their own personal goals. If we can establish such a program, we are likely to see an increase in stakeholder satisfaction and a reduction in employee turnover. As we move forward, it will be important to define metrics that will show how we are changing in the near term. This will build support within the organization. We need to establish goals that show we are moving in the right direction now. This will most likely be done by highlighting instances of individuals being rewarded for their candor, opportunities we have set up for the success of our individual employees, and the ways we have had a direct impact on our environment. Our coalition will need to monitor such events and identify where we can improve as the situation changes. As we continue to highlight our wins, we will need to ensure we continuously put our energy towards this paradigm shift. Highlighting short-term wins will support the sustainment of the change, but we cannot stop there. As we continue forward, we must continuously drive this change from the top down. Any opportunity we have to praise the individuals that embody what we want Volkswagen to be must be done in the public eye to show all what we truly believe in. Finally, We will need to instill this change and continue to progress. Reverting back to our old habits will bring us back here again. There are numerous ways that we can highlight this change. It could be in stakeholder satisfaction, employee turnover, environmental impacts, or even our bottom line. Any improvement we see must be connected to our changes. We are an organization that has been around for many decades. Many of our employees, especially those that have been with us the longest, may resist change. Make no mistake, if we do not adapt as a whole, we will not succeed. We need to assist those that may abhor such a shift in leadership techniques. Those that struggle to understand the significance of this approach will need to be dealt with on the same level of understanding, in the same way we want them to deal with their subordinates. It may take some convincing, but we will undoubtedly be able to develop such a change. Many of our younger employees will likely see the benefits of this paradigm shift, and perhaps we should look at a form of reverse mentoring. Additionally, because of our global market, we need to take a look at what it will cost financially to develop the systems and programs required to genuinely put our stakeholders first, and the cost of running such a campaign of this magnitude. For this organization to succeed, we must remember the past to prevent us from repeating our mistakes. We must remember that we are here for the people and exist as an organization, not simply to make money, but to provide opportunities to our stakeholders and those in our communities. While our employees will strive to earn enough to live comfortably, they are far more likely to find increased motivation by reaching a personal goal than they are by temporary monetary gain. As leaders, we need to go the extra mile to understand what each person wants out of their time with Volkswagen and help them reach that goal. We cannot use the easy pitfall of utilizing the fleeting motivation of monetary incentives based on performance. If we can effectively place our higher purpose and the needs of our stakeholders above all else, Volkswagen will be successful yet again. Thank you for your time.